What's up, boys and girls, children of all ages, DC fans of all walks? My name is Brad, the DC Universe Geek.
And I'm Margaret, his wife.
Admittedly not a DC Universe geek. And This is our spoiler-filled, take note, spoiler-filled review of the Justice League film, which is just leaving its first weekend in the theaters. Some people think it's doing quite swimmingly. Other people think it's falling short in other ways. We don't tend to pay attention to that kind of stuff. This is just our review of the film and what we think as a fan and as a whatever you are.
A blossoming fan?
I guess so. A pubescent DC fan. So in a nutshell, basically what is the movie? Well, it's Batman and Wonder Woman getting the whole gang together, tracking down the known metas, Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg, to form a nice super team, a Justice League, if you will, to face Steppenwolf and the Parademons, the first invading force from the planet Apocalypse. Long story short, they managed to get the band together, and along the way they discover, hey, guess what? We can also resurrect Superman from the dead with mixed Kryptonian / motherboard technology. And voila! They defeat Steppenwolf, send him packing up a boom tube, and the Justice League is now a thing. Only, where's the Green Lantern? Seriously, we didn't even get a Green Lantern after the credits scene. We got two really cool after the credits scenes, neither of which had the Green Lantern. What's the deal with that? Bring us Hal Jordan. So the first thing we're going to dissect is the story. Was it too fast? Was it too long? Did it live up to the hype? Personally, I think that having a 2-hour-long story in a movie that is designed for the average moviegoer is just fine. I don't think the average person wants to sit for 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes in the theaters. I know myself, I could have sat for a whole another hour, and so could she. But the average person probably doesn't want to sit in the movie theater for almost 3 hours. Especially after Batman v Superman was so long and it was so dark and philosophical and so hard to follow for the average person.
Yeah.
Because they cut out so many important scenes that they then reinserted when they released the Blu-ray. So I think 2 hours for a theatrical release is just fine. Fanboys like myself will buy the Blu-ray and will watch all the extended stuff, which probably should have been there in the first place. Warner Brothers high up said chop it down to 2 hours. So they had to chop it down. So tell me, Margaret, as a non-comics reader, this movie, do you feel like it suffered from some of the trappings that Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice suffered from, in that it was hard to follow at times because they had to make a lot of cuts?
Yeah.
Just like in Dawn of Justice. Do you feel like this movie was also too fragmented to follow the storyline completely? Or do you feel like the cuts that they made still did not detract from the overall story and allowed it to click along at a good pace, but still remain understandable and connected?
Yeah, I definitely think they learned from their mistakes. Like, if I hadn't had you whispering in my ear with the last movie, I would have been lost. Whereas this one, I mean, we whispered a little bit, but the movie, the whole thing had flow. Like, you definitely knew what was going on. New characters were introduced with their name and like, oh, yeah, Darkseid. Okay, I know who that is. Like, yeah, it was definitely more enjoyable that way.
So you could click along and watch it and not need someone there to tell you what was going on with the story.
No, I didn't need like a movie aid.
Which is why it was cut down, which is why Warner Brothers said cut it down.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Blu-ray, again, it'll be longer, and all those scenes that I would like to see will be there.
I wish there was more between like Lois and Clark before he goes off.
And you could tell when you watch it. They cut scenes out. Those are some of the scenes that they cut out when Lois and Clark are kind of...
When he's recovering.
Yeah, after he's resurrected. There's dialogue and stuff there. Yeah. I mean, just the trailer with Superman in the cornfield with the wedding ring, right?
Yeah, there was a line that they
wasn't even in the movie.
I hate that.
It was actually a completely different scene. Yeah. They didn't just cut it. It was a completely different scene.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But that'll be in the Blu-ray, and they'll mix it together. I'm sure they will. Mm-hmm. Now, as for the ending, a lot of people have said that they felt like the ending was just too fast. It was too abrupt. It was kind of like the movie built up and built up and built up. Then it was like, boom, there's a big fight. Then Superman pops onto the scene, and the fighting and the action is just amazing. And then as soon as Superman pops up and he's actually present and not off saving people with the Flash, it's kind of like all over and done with pretty darn quickly as soon as Superman shows up. And then the whole movie kind of, after that point, kind of goes done. And it's like... it was quick. I definitely felt like it could have been like 2.5 to 5 minutes longer, but I don't think it wrecks it. I think that kind of quick ending, I think you got all the information that you needed at the end of Justice League. And again, the Blu-ray will have lots and lots of extra scenes. That ending will probably be chalked up another 5 or 10 minutes. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
I don't think it wrecks the movie. However, there was one guy in the theater at one point when, okay, first of all, when all the fighting was done, he went, "That was too easy." And I'm like, it's quiet.
Dude.
Yeah, shut your pie hole. Keep your mouth shut during the movie and then say it after or make a video or whatever. But like, we're all still here watching the movie, clearly enjoying it. And he's being openly loud and critical right there. Obnoxious. And he was right behind us. And then there's another point when he said, when it was all said and done, he said, "Great movie, shitty ending." And I just thought,
right at the end, right at the boom, where the black hits the screen and everyone's like, and he's like, "That was shit." And it's
great movie, shitty ending. And I'm just like, dude, but as much as that guy really pissed me off a lot just for being so douchey about it, he did say something that a lot of people were thinking. A lot of people thought it ended too quick. A lot of people thought that the ending scene was too easy once Superman showed up. I personally don't think it was.
No.
I think that it was the perfect ending. Superman is a powerhouse. And I want to also address the idea that a lot of people were like, Superman was too overpowered in that. Dude, you don't read comics if you think that Superman was too overpowered in this. Superman didn't even really get a chance to flex his muscles and see how powerful he really is. Because Superman's a team player. Superman could have blown on Steppenwolf's magical apocalyptic axe and broke it apart himself.
Yeah.
But it was teamwork. He went and he froze it, and then Wonder Woman with her magic sword cut it in half.
Yeah.
He could have probably done it himself, but he's a team player.
Yeah.
And Superman is that powerful.
Yeah.
Superman can knock the crap out of Steppenwolf. That's something that he's good at. He can also knock the crap out of Calabac. It all depends on how much he's holding back, and he's always holding back. Now, as for the characters, I think that Ben Affleck did a wonderful job portraying Batman, as he did in his other previous 2 outings as Batman in Dawn of Justice and also in the Suicide Squad. I think he did a miraculous job. Not a big fan of the tactical suit. Which costume did you prefer? The one from Batman v Superman, or the one that he wore for most of Justice League, or the tactical suit, the one that looks really video game-ish close to the end with the goggles?
Yeah, no, I preferred the one that he wore most of the movie this time. It was more like the Batman that I'm used to seeing. And I liked that one. Before, like, when he put on the suit and the goggles, I was just like, oh, he's wearing a special thing, and then he's going to go back to that other suit.
Yeah, he pretty much wore that tactical suit. And I'm not a big fan of it. To me, it just looks like, as an action figure collector, it just looks like a Batman variant that Hasbro or Mattel would have made to get a parent to buy more. It's not a terribly designed suit. Affleck wore it well. I don't know. I mean, if anyone's going to have different suits, Batman's going to do it. I'm not a fan of it. I really think they could have done something else with it. And I really hope to God that they don't make that his main suit in the next movie.
Oh, they better not.
Really hope that it's just the black and gray again.
Yeah, yeah.
Other than that, we got to see a more acrobatic, more nimble on his toes Batman in comparison to the Batman v Superman version of Batman, which was more Frank Miller-esque. He was more lumbering and just a powerhouse. Like, he really did not want to end up getting in the way of his fists.
Yeah.
He was still like that, but less lumbering and more nimble on the feet. Acrobatics.
Yeah, definitely.
Flipping.
Yeah.
Climbing on stuff. So and then what did you think of them actually incorporating the Danny Elfman Batman theme song into the movie?
That was amazing. Like, at first it was like a mix, like a DJ mix, so you didn't quite recognize it, but then, like, after a few notes, of course, you were like, ooh, and it just set the scene.
Yeah.
Like, it just made you feel all the feels.
And it was the right time. It was the right time for it to come in. Like, Batman is silhouetted and he jumps down, at the bat signal, and it
was perfect.
It was the right time. And they did the same thing with Superman, too. They had some of the original Superman theme song, which is perfect because, to me, when I think of Batman and I think of Superman, I don't think of the theme songs for, Christian Bale and for Henry Cavill. They're good theme songs, but they're not iconic as far as I'm concerned. These are iconic, and I'm really happy they honored the legacy.
Well, you and I, like, we watched these movies when we were kids, right? Like Superman, my first Superman was Christopher Reeves, so...
It's still the best in a lot of ways, as far as I'm concerned.
So this just ties it all together, right? It validates these characters in our minds as like, oh yeah, that's the same Superman, that's the same Batman.
Well, that goes back to the idea that a lot of people are like, you know, they put these movies out like this and fanboys and blah blah blah. Like, you have to cater to the people who have been supporting you for all these years. You have to give them something too.
Yeah.
And so to me, it was like, let's honor these past incarnations and give this to the fans. Victor Stone, Cyborg in the movie, you wouldn't know this, but he was, as far as I'm concerned, incredibly accurately portrayed. They couldn't have picked a better actor to portray the Cyborg, and they did it really well. They got into a little bit of his origin without having an origin story. You know, he's a college ball kid with a bright future ahead of him, and he knows where he's going. He knows what he wants. He's an extremely good tactician on the field. And then all of a sudden, he's unsure of himself because there's the accident, and most of his body is replaced with cybernetic parts, and he questions himself. Am I more cyborg? Am I more human? What am I? Where's my place in the world? And they do a really good job of presenting the unsurety of Victor Stone in this movie in the very short time they had to really delve into that. The character development of Victor Stone, in the short amount of time they had,
yeah,
I thought they did a lot of really great development, because he starts out feeling like he doesn't belong.
Yeah.
Like he is an outsider, and he realizes, no, they're all outsiders.
Yeah.
And they belong together, and he belongs with them. And he can serve a purpose, and he still is very much human, even though he has so much cybernetic, material in his body.
Wonder Woman plays like a really motherly kind of comforting role for him, and like Flash is trying to bond with him. Like, we're both accidents,
which is comic accurate on both accounts, actually. That's exactly how it works.
So I really like seeing those relationships develop. It sets up that dynamic between the team. Yeah, I really like that. And I mean, so my only exposure to his character before this movie was the Teen Titans cartoon, because we have boys and they watch it. And I would say that the character is really consistent with the cartoon character of the jokes and the cleverness of that character.
I have no idea. I don't watch the Teen Titans cartoon. Honestly, I don't. I'm a big DC fan, but I don't watch absolutely everything by them. I've never played Injustice 2. Only played 1. Never watched the Teen Titans.
I've never played
the latest
either.
Incarnation. Yeah, but I mean, you're not the DC geek, right?
No.
Anyway, so yeah, that's both of our thoughts on Victor. I think he did an excellent job, and the costuming work was really good. And for those of us who were like, that, why does he look quite like that? That's Zack Snyder's look for him. At the end, you can really tell that an added scene for him was they've given him a look that is more akin to how he looks now in the comic books. They readjusted his costume and it changed. There's a scene with him and his father.
Yeah, just at the end.
But if you're a comic fan, you'll remember that scene. That's how he looks in the comics, so that's how he's going to look into future movies. So, I really like their treatment of Cyborg. Then we have Ezra Miller as the Flash. I really like the idea that, okay, if you're a comic book fan like me, you will look at Ezra Miller's Flash probably, and you'll be like, okay, that he's playing Barry Allen, but he's not Barry Allen, right? Like, I know Barry Allen's character from the comics, and I can say that Ezra Miller is not quite channeling Barry Allen. It seems like a mixture of Barry, Wally West, and then Bart Allen. It seems like a mixture of 3 characters, because he's also very much like Impulse in this movie. He can't sit still. He's going from here, going to there, and his brain's moving a mile a minute, and he's just always thinking something, and he's finishing people's sentences, and he's, I really, really like what he brought to the table, what Ezra Miller brought to the table to portray the Flash. And I can't wait to see a solo movie for the Flash, because we're going to see a solo movie for the Flash, as well as, I assume, for Cyborg.
I've seen a lot of interviews with him, and the way that he described like how he played the character, he did a lot of improv. If you see like live interviews, that's what he's like. He's like that grown-up ADHD kid.
Yeah.
And there was like a mention of like how he approached the character, and he was like, well, if you're a Flash fan, then you would know that there isn't just like one Flash. Yeah. So what you're saying totally makes sense with that interview answer.
See, I never heard that interview. There you go. I could spot it, but I didn't know it.
He was trying to bring all of them together, so the fans would be able to recognize all of the many versions of Flash.
That makes sense, because with Wally West, they were constantly talking about how much he had to eat because of how fast his body burned the calories. So there are many scenes in the comics in the 90s and the 80s where Flash is sitting in a Big Belly burger, just shoveling burgers into his mouth. Yeah, just trying to build his calories up so he doesn't wither away and die, because he just metabolizes things so fast. And again, him not being able to sit still, and he's constantly going here and there, and his mouth is moving a mile a minute, and the jokes and stuff. The jokes are really Wally West. Like, Barry's got a good sense of humor. I mean, New 52, Barry kind of changed, but...
Yeah.
And he doesn't look like Barry Allen. He looks like Bart Allen, as far as I'm concerned. At least pre-crisis. Pre-Final Crisis Bart Allen, he reminds me of. Anyway, I'm happy with Ezra. The only thing I don't like... I'm going to nitpick about the Flash in the movie is not Ezra.
No, he was amazing.
I'm not a big fan of the costume. Duck! Tomatoes are going to be...
It needs work. You can tell. It's like his first... It's like the first costume for anything that comes out, right? It always improves. So just... I think you should just calm down.
Like Cyborg.
And just wait.
Well, no, I mean...
see.
I'm fine with it. I just don't like it. But hear me out. The costume, you can tell that with the entire... franchise, they're trying to go with a more realistic thing. That's why Superman's costume looks like chainmail, and that it's a glyph on his chest, and they really emphasize that it means hope. Whereas originally, that was an S.
Yeah,
it was
supposed to wind like a river, and I was like, okay.
All right, Soupy.
It's an S.
But yeah, his costume to me, the Flash suit in the movie, was very reminiscent of how he looks in Injustice. And I remember buying the first Injustice game going, I'm not digging the Flash suit in Injustice. It's got too many panels. And I get it. It's the technology of the suit is it's heat resistant like the space shuttle. I totally get it. All that running would create all that friction. Don't want his clothes to burn up and him be all naked and stuff like that. I get it. But it's a fictional movie. They could have wrote whatever they wanted to, and they went with that particular look. And I'm just not a huge fan of Flash in muscular panels. I'm more of a fan of a slender Flash anyway, and those panels make him look bigger.
Right.
And I don't think that Flash needs to look bigger.
No.
He taps into the Speed Force. That's why he's fast. And he would be slender from the metabolism.
Well, if he has a high metabolism, he wouldn't have this big bulky massive muscles.
No, he'd have like a runner body, and that's like typically a thin body with big legs.
Long distance runner kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So I really do hope that they change that. That's my only complaint about the Flash. I loved Ezra Miller. Next we have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and she did an amazing job as Wonder Woman as usual, as to be expected. It's Gal Gadot. She's absolutely fantastic.
She's amazing.
The little corner of her mouth goes up and the little Wonder Woman smirk, and
her accent.
You feel warm and loved and protected all at once when you're around her.
She's gorgeous. Oh my God.
I'm flipping
fangirl.
Fangirl right here. But she does a great job of portraying that strength that Wonder Woman has and that love and compassion at the same time. Gal Gadot marries those Wonder Woman-esque qualities together really, really well. I think that she has an excellent understanding of the character. She must, to be able to portray her in such, as far as I'm concerned, a very perfect way. And I've read a lot of comics with Wonder Woman, and she does an excellent job. So that's really all I can say about Gal Gadot. I mean,
she was actually a dancer, like back when she was younger. So
like a tiny dancer,
like a ballerina kind of dancer, but like expressing yourself with your body, right? So she found that really helped her with the fighting movements and the choreography and everything, because she could really express Wonder Woman's like how she would approach this move and the feeling.
I can see that.
Yeah, you can totally see a dancer's
There's a lot of stuff on the ground and stuff like that.
Yeah, like those low kicks where she's just kicking people's feet out.
Yeah, I can see where that would help. It helped Patrick Swayze. Why wouldn't it help Gal Gadot?
There you go.
Little known fact, Patrick Swayze was a ballerina.
With the tutu and the...
We didn't have a tutu. It's the Swayze.
I'm joking.
Next is Jason Momoa. You know what I think they did for Jason Momoa? I think they were like, we don't need to actually find someone to play Aquaman. Because if you've watched the movie, you know that Jason Momoa's Aquaman is not really an accurate portrayal of any Aquaman we've seen in the comics. He's kind of like this one and kind of like that one and kind of mushed together. But Jason Momoa brought his own thing to Aquaman. So my theory is what they did is they were like, all right, let's just hire Jason Momoa.
We need someone who's hot.
We need Jason Momoa. Let's just put Jason Momoa in an Aquaman costume, and he can just be Jason Momoa in an Aquaman costume.
Tattoos on.
Because he was...
Just go in the water. Yep, just stand. Yeah, that's perfect.
The way Jason... right, the way that he behaves as Aquaman is how he behaves. You know, when Aquaman is like... When Cyborg throws him, right?
Oh, that was the best
He goes,
scene.
woo!
Yes.
He does that anyway. He makes those noises.
I know.
They were just like... Let's just get Jason Momoa and stick him in an Aquaman costume and see what happens. I mean, he's pretty much what we want anyway. So he did a fabulous job.
Yes.
Out of all the solo DC films to come, I am the most stoked about Aquaman.
Yeah.
More than Shazam, more than Flash, any of them. I want to see that Aquaman movie. And Mara's hot.
Have you seen interviews with him and her together? Like, it just gets you, like, tingling to, like, see them on screen because their interaction and dynamics together, just, like, the two actors. Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be amazing.
Mara's hot. And next we have Superman, Margaret's crush. She's got a big crush on Henry Cavill. Seriously.
Yeah.
If I died and woke up tomorrow with Henry Cavill's face and reborn, she would be very happy. Not to have this, but to have Henry Cavill. I should just walk around with a face on a popsicle stick.
Could you do that?
Shut up! But we can't talk about Henry Cavill's portrayal of Superman until we address the mustache issue.
Oh, God.
A lot of people are like, that mustache being CGI'd out was terrible. It looked horrible. And the thing is, there are times when it does look really horrible. I have to agree. There's the scene where he's holding Batman by his face.
Yeah.
And he's like, tell me, do you bleed? And there's a close-up of his mouth.
Yeah.
All I could think was, why did you have to close up on his mouth?
Actually, from my point of view, I wasn't really taken out of the movie. It wasn't like a...
It didn't take me out either, no.
It didn't take me out. I was just like right in the moment, right? Like, oh my God, is he going to kill him? And then like the moment, you know, that Lois shows up.
Okay.
It was beautiful.
Thing is,
so I wasn't even thinking about the mouth. Like,
if
honestly,
nobody told me
Yeah.
it was CG,
Yeah.
I would have been like, the hell is up with Henry Cavill's mouth?
Really?
Yeah.
But you even told me, and I still didn't even think about that.
But there was
moment.
the thing is, for me, there was only a few times when I was like, that's CG and it looks horrible.
I didn't
For the
notice.
most part, I didn't notice. And there were other parts, like when they're in the cornfield, where it's actually his face. It's actually his mouth.
Oh.
Not all the scenes that he's in have been, because only the scenes that they had to call him back to
Right.
do reshoots, because he
Yes.
couldn't shave because he was contractually obligated to
He
keep
was
the mustache.
working on the other film like
Right.
simultaneously.
Right, and he was showing
Yeah.
up when he wasn't filming there,
Yeah.
flying from
Yeah.
the UK and coming to film in America.
He's an amazing accent. Oh my God.
But yeah, his portrayal of Superman was amazing, and I will take the CGI top lip for what they changed.
Yes.
Clearly, they were like, all right, let's make him that really hopeful, wisecracking, funny, laughing, smiling Superman that the fans have been demanding.
Yes.
I don't think in the original cuts he would have been quite like that. So I'm happy they came back, even if it is some pretty shoddy CGI work in some parts.
Would you say that it was rushed then?
It was rushed, and the reason why it was rushed, I know this actually, it was rushed because they had a hard deadline for Justice League. Warner Brothers was like, it has to be out here. Mm-hmm. It's got to come out there.
Right.
And so they CGI'd it, and I guarantee I'm going to put money on it right now. When the Blu-ray comes out, they will have gone over the CGI top lip
They'll
a
make
little
it
bit more.
perfect.
And
Yeah.
they're going to make it just right for the Blu-ray. And put in all the extra scenes with Henry Cavill that...
All the feels.
Yeah. Like the farm scenes, they cut out and stuff like that. I like the updates to the suit. They made it a brighter blue. Or
I
they
like
just
that.
lit it better and the red is brighter.
It seemed like a shine. Yeah, they definitely lit it better.
Well,
Yeah.
because, Hope isn't exactly in dark colors. Like, hi, I'm Hope and I'm in dark and very muted colors. Hope is bright. Henry Cavill in a more primary colored blue and red and yellow is what Superman was meant to be.
Yeah.
He wasn't meant to be in dark colors. All they had was blue and red and yellow when they colored in his suit. Blue, regular yellow, regular red.
Yeah.
Did I say blue twice?
You did, but it's really blue.
Next, I also want to give a shout out to the fact that they actually changed the side of the part of his hair. Finally. I prefer my Superman to have the part on the right side and not on the left side. That way when his spit curl hangs down, which was non-existent in this movie, again, it can make a little S. So, and Henry Cavill, they gave him all the fun lines, the jokes.
They did.
And he saved people.
The whole building full.
Picked them up, whoosh, flew them. They really did a good job to emphasize that he was more inclined to save people and then come back and face the bad guy.
Yeah, they showed his heart this time, I think. And that was really important because they haven't shown us that. We know it maybe from like previous Superman incarnations, but they haven't shown us that in this.
He's always been dark and unsure of himself.
And brooding.
Brooding. Yeah, and we did not get that. But I like the way they answered that. They were like, well, when you resurrect people, no one's ever the same.
Flash's Pet Cemetery line.
Yeah, but are you sure that he's not going to be all like Pet Cemetery? And then he is.
He totally is. And
confused and angry.
Pet Cemetery.
Pet Cemetery. It was good.
It was awesome.
And there's a scene where Flash is running past him, and Superman actually looks at him.
And Flash is like,
what the heck?
You can see me?
Holy crap. It was really, really good.
Flash crabs himself, and
Wonder Woman is not strong enough to contain him.
Neither's Aquaman.
Batman
or them both together.
Yeah, Superman had to be there and be.
And Cyborg,
Superman.
Didn't he fire out? No, he missed. But even Cyborg couldn't have done anything to stop Superman. The only one to stop him
was Lois.
Was
love. So yeah, I think we've talked about everything. A basic rundown of what we thought of the story, of the ending, of the lack of the missing film footage, like the cuts, the mustache, the costumes.
And the mustache, I mean, he wasn't the only hair that was like all waxed and stuff. I watched an interview. Apparently Jason's hair had to also be like all pulled back and like waxed because a lot of his hair was like CG. When he's like in the water and stuff, that wasn't actually his hair.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so there was a lot of
But you can get away with
issues.
it because you're in the water, though, so things are slightly fuzzier.
Exactly.
Yeah. I didn't even question that. That was okay with me.
You didn't even notice.
What did you think of Steppenwolf? Did you think he was reasonable enough, or cartoonish, or a throwaway villain? How were your thoughts on Steppenwolf and the Parademons?
I found him terrifying. Like, honestly,
when he
first showed up, it was like, crap. Like, these Amazons barely fought off World War II Nazis. Like,
yeah, they were cannon fodder.
He's gonna kill them all! And, yeah, I seriously was concerned.
I thought that Steppenwolf, people complained about Steppenwolf's CG.
Really?
CGI, yeah. They're like, I think he was a little bit cartoonish. A lot cartoonish.
but again, you would say that that's because it was rushed. They'll probably add more layers of detail.
Maybe they won't. I don't know. For me, I'm okay with it. He's a new god from the fourth world. I mean, I
just took it as like his skin was different. Like it would be because he's not exactly human. So
not human at all. He's humanoid.
Exactly. So I just took it as like a different texture, kind of like Gollum.
The Parademons looked fabulous.
Yeah, they
might I say
freaky. Oh my gosh.
They looked fabulous.
Although Superman could have just taken them all out.
Well, and if you're a fan of the Injustice universe, he flew around the world and like in seconds just incinerated into powder.
I think you told me that story.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the same thingies?
Yeah, those are Parademons.
The bugs.
Yeah, the bugs, basically.
The moment when Flash is covered with their goo and he's like, ew.
Yes, this is so gross.
Yeah. I really loved the moment when Batman, like, teaches him how to be a part of this team because he's like, I've never been in battle before, and he's freaking out. He's about to piss himself.
I've just kind of came behind people and pushed people before.
Yeah, just tripped them. And he's like, just save one. And then he's like, and then what? And he's like, you'll know what's next, right? You'll know what to do or something. Oh yeah, he probably just says you'll know because it's Batman, right?
Yeah. And
it was beautiful.
Everyone kind of mentors Flash in this one.
And Cyborg. Like, they both clearly need a lot of direction from these seasoned people who have been doing their shit for a while, right? So
while Jason Momoa, his Aquaman character, is learning that to be part of a team is to be stronger together as opposed to being a strong man by yourself, like he has a conversation with Batman.
That's not the phrase at all. The moment when he's sitting on the lasso.
Yeah, talking to all the characters. Like, looks at Flash, you're too busy tripping over your own feet and mine.
Yeah.
Points at Cyborg. He's like, I'm not even sure if you're like with us or you're a spy.
Yeah.
Batman, he's like, you're just a guy. No superpowers.
No powers.
No powers.
Yeah.
And he looks at Wonder Woman and goes, and you are just you're gorgeous and powerful. And, oh, the things I would do to you if I was alone, or he says something like that.
And then he goes on about how he doesn't want to die, and she's just smirking at him.
We're probably all going to die. And he realizes he's sitting on the lasso.
Best moment of the movie.
Yeah. No, Superman coming to join the fight was the best moment.
Yeah. But like the best moment without Superman.
Crush.
I feel like I loved it, but I really want to see the full cut. Like, I want to see the DVD Blu-ray version.
That'll be a 9.5 out of 10, I'm betting.
Is there.
I'm just not giving it a 10 out of 10 because they'll be like, he's a fanboy, and the fanboy's giving 10 out of 10, and no movie's perfect.
Henry Cavill gets a 10 out of 10.
Oh, my God. I'm just going to walk around with Henry Cavill's face on a pie plate on the popsicle stick. I'm Henry Cavill. Anyway, that's been our review of the Justice League. It's been long, it's been rambling, it's been arduous. But we hope you enjoyed it. We didn't really get into a lot of the same stuff that a lot of reviewers would get into to really nitpick at the movie and tear it to shreds. We basically went into the characters, how they portrayed them, how they were treated, a little bit of the actual movie itself. But those are the things that stand out to us and we felt were worth talking about.
Yes.
And we didn't just want our review to be just like absolutely everybody else's. We obviously enjoyed it. And if we could say anything about it, it is don't take our word for it. Don't take anyone else's word for it. And please, stay the heck away from the cesspool of Rotten Tomatoes, whether the reviews are good or bad.
Yes.
Don't let that group of people make the decision for you. Go see it yourself and support the movie, even if it is just on a cheap night.
Well, hopefully if they made it this far, they've seen it. But think for yourself, right? Like, don't just reiterate what critics are saying about it. You saw it. Tell people how you really feel, because we know you probably love it.
Anyway, so that's been our review. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. It's been long, it's been rambling, it's been arduous, but this is what we think. If you liked the video, please click like on the video so we know you liked it. Leave any comments you have down in the comment section below. Did you like Batman's suit? Did you like Flash's suit or not? Fan of the tactical suit? You know I'm not. Do you think the movie was too long, too short? Did you like Henry Cavill in the film or not? Was the CGI top lip something that pulled you out? Let us know down in the comments below, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.